explained how they'd gotten the drop on us before. The three figures crept through the sparse underbrush towards my two friends, guns outstretched. I slowly inhaled 3 times before exhaling in a long, smooth breath and squeezed the trigger on the monster .50 caliber rifle. It bucked against my shoulder, but the rifle itself absorbed most of the recoil. Leo shot off in a green streak at the crack of the rifle. The ghosting of the night vision screen actually made it easier to follow her. She left a trail of green behind her. A shift of the barrel to the left. Breathe, squeeze, 2 down. At my second shot, John burst forward with a pistol in each hand, firing at everything that moved. He was wearing a dark vest against a lighter-colored shirt. It looked like my tactical vest. After my first shot, many of the enemy combatants turned to look for me. But when John started firing, they all spun around looking at the more direct threat. Knowing he would be shooting those closest to him, I dropped the barrel and started firing on the men furthest from John. I burned through my remaining 9 shots in the magazine with 9 kills. I'm sure John could have taken 12 with 9 bullets, I thought, as I manually fed a shell into the bolt. I wished I'd been able to find several magazines, but even with single shots, it was still fast and efficient. Breathe, squeeze, bolt, shell, bolt, breathe. I got into a routine. I was a machine taking out the trash. For every one of them I killed, John was killing 3. I stopped shooting and started watching Leo to make sure none could sneak up on her. Not that that was possible, but 3 months ago, someone moving so fast you couldn't see them wasn't possible either. There was a small group on the far side of the killing zone, out of John's line of fire. Leo was heading towards them while he crouched down reloading magazines. I stood up and yelled, "Leave a couple alive!" When I stood up on the opposite side of the field, the lone figure stood up out of a hole, raised a rifle, and pulled the trigger. Leo and John both looked up at me right as the bullet hit me in the left shoulder, spinning me around and throwing me to the ground. I felt like I'd been hit in the chest by a sledgehammer. I fell with my head hanging off the edge of the roof and lay there trying to catch my breath. It was as if someone had parked a car on my chest. Leo became a dervish. She was a green blur of death. Her kukri in her hand, baton in the other. At one point, she had 3 heads removed before the first one hit the ground. She was twisting and whirling and diving and rolling. She was graceful death. She was a river of green flowing between the men who were now running in a panic. Every now and then, almost in slow motion, one of them would stop and raise a gun. None of them ever got their rifles to their shoulders. Her machete hit the first 3 at the base of the skull. She drove a baton into the eye of another one. Leo switched mid-swing from the kukri to the baton, clubbing the final 2 into unconsciousness. The array of death and destruction was amazing. It brought to mind post-battle scenes from movies about the Revolutionary War. Dead men lay in piles and singles. The difference was that there were no wounded. With the exception of the 2 unconscious combatants, every one of them was dead from either a hole in their head or lack of a head. Following the fight, the silence was amazing. The entire fight took less than 2 minutes. The second the last corpse fell, Leo ran around the building. I think she must have jumped up onto the dumpster and then to the roof, because in no time she was at my side. "You dumb, overconfident son of a bitch! You'd better not be dead!" she yelled at me. I groaned to let her know I was alive as she rolled me over. "Hurts like hell," I said with a smile. Her face was red with anger at my stupidity. "Tukes, if you die, I'll kill you." "Leo, given that we're in the middle of the zombie apocalypse, I hope you will." "Sit me up, I can walk," I said, "but be careful." She sat me up and moved around to my back. "Did it go through?" I asked, when I could catch my breath. The pain was excruciating if I moved any part of my upper body. "I think my collarbone is broken." "Clean through. It's pretty ugly back here. You're going to be laid up for weeks, you big dummy. We have to get you off the roof and get the bleeding stopped. This is going to require some pretty serious stitching, and I'm not very qualified." "It's going to have to be you or John," I said, teeth clenched. "I'd rather it was you. At least you could do it quickly," I grinned, then continued. "Oh, Leo, I got you a backpack. You're going to have to carry it for me, though. And don't forget my new rifle, please." I walked over to the access door and wondered how in God's name I was going to get down the ladder. I reached for the key before remembering I'd been shot. Moving my arm was a very bad idea. Leo, the key to the door is in my pocket. I can't reach it. You're going to have to get it. Oh, sure, she said. I have to do all the work. She reached into my pocket and retrieved the keys. She put the pink camel backpack on her shoulders and picked up the barrel. My God, this thing is heavy. Clutching my shirt with my bad arm, I hobbled down the ladder with my other hand. I could barely walk. My back was shooting stabbing pain down my spine. My bullet wound was on fire, and my collarbone was poking the meat of my chest. Let's go get Sammy and meet my remaining captors, I said. I felt like I was going to die at any moment. The only thing keeping me going was anger at whomever or whatever was behind this. There were not many humans left. Killing any of them was senseless. Forcing my friends and me to kill living humans made me angry. Very angry. But that was nothing compared to how angry I was that someone might have been building an army to come get Max. Inside the gun shop, I limped over to the counter and dug out a can of trigger zip ties for making guns safe. I wished I had a pair of pliers and a blowtorch. I was about to get medieval on some hillbilly ass. 18. Information. I stood up straight, grabbed the hem of my shirt to give my arms some support, and walked towards the two unconscious figures on the ground, filled with righteous anger. Let's get them inside, I said. I don't want to be out here in case there are more of them coming back. Leo and John dragged the two inside and set them up in a couple of chairs from the back room. I smacked the first one across the face and yelled, "Wake up!" His head rolled to one side, and I slapped it back the other way as he started to come to. "What's your name, son?" I asked, my voice deadly cool. He was not bound, but I didn't expect any trouble with Leo and John standing behind me. "Butch," he said. "Butch, tell me what was going on here." "They'll kill me," he said with a frightened look in his eyes. "Butch, I'm going to kill you if you don't tell me the truth. I may kill you by tying you to a tree along the road. Hopefully you'll die of thirst before a zombie finds you." Calm and cool, my only chance at getting the information I needed to keep Max safe was to be a bigger threat than the zombies that were controlling these humans. I'd spent the last several minutes racking my brain, trying to figure out what hold the zombies had over these people. Leo stepped forward and put her hand on my good shoulder, and I shot her a look. "Butch, tell me what's going on," I said coldly. "Why are you working for them?" They have my family," he stuttered. Where is your family?" "At the high school in Culpeper. There are 30 or 40 of them smart ones. The Zed in charge is Watley. All the other Zeds that can talk call him Mr. Watley," he gushed. "Butch, 3 of us took out your whole crew here. There are more of us. We can free your family, but you have to tell me what's going on," I said, softening my tone a bit. "I don't know nothing. All I know is they said to come here and find some little kid and tell them where he was, and they'd let me and my family go." "What was this kid's name, Butch? Do you know? Do you have a description? How are you supposed to find him?" "His name is Max. I don't know what he looks like, except he's blonde-haired. One of them got a look at him somewhere, but he was in a silver truck and the window was all fogged. All he could tell was that he was blonde." But the front passenger side window of my truck shot out. There was no way a back window could have been fogged. How could it have been fogged? Could that be what Max meant when he said he was hiding from them? I needed to have a talk with him, but I was so afraid of frightening him. He'd handled all of this so well, with maturity way beyond his years. "When you found this Max kid, what were you supposed to do?" "You're gonna go get my family? Give me your word." "Butch, if you tell me where this group of zombies who are looking for this Max kid are at, I'm going to go kill them and free your family." "We were supposed to take the kid back to Mr. Watley. He was real interested in the kid." "Why? What did he want with the kid?" I asked, trying not to give away that it was my son they were looking for. "He never said nothing, and I ain't asked. I just did as I was told, hoping to get away or do what they wanted to get my family back." Leo, I'm done with Butch here. The other one is waking up. Would you drag Butch out back and get rid of him? Butch screamed as Leo dragged him out of the room. You said you gave me your word! I'm a man of my word, I said calmly, as Leo took Butch out back and let him go. You, what's your name? I said as I slapped the second man back to consciousness. Huh? What? I'm still alive? He stammered. That chick, she moved like a zombie. I thought I was a goner. Shut up. What's your name? I asked in the same cold voice as before. I'd lost a lot of blood by now and was starting to get a little woozy. I had too much to do and no time for this injury. I had a 2-mile walk ahead of me and one more interrogation to complete. Lance Fitzgerald, my buddy Butch and I, we were just walking through town, just the two of us, when this big Zed jumped us. We thought we were dead, but he just said, I'll let you live if you go take over this gun store for me. Just bring the guns back. I cut him off with a slap across the cheek. Don't lie to me, Lance. Do not lie again. Look, man, I don't know what you want to hear. Butch and I were jumped heading into... This time I hit him with a closed fist. Butch had too many details to be lying to me. He knew too much. Lance, I'm going to give you one more try, I said as I took the big black .40 caliber pistol out of my waistband. Don't lie to me again. I've done a lot of killing today. My friends have done a lot of killing today. What's one more? I leveled the gun at his head. Lance, if you lie to me again, I'm going to do you the favor of shooting you in the head so you can't become one of them. This third time around, Lance told me the exact same story as Butch. Lance, thank you, I said. Leo, can you handle this one? We have a long walk, and I have to go get my rifle back out of the yard. I hobbled my way out to the yard with no idea how I was going to make the 2-mile walk back to the house. Just put one foot in front of the other, Tukes. 19. Recovery. I put one foot in front of another, step after step. I made it the first mile on my own before I had to put an arm around John. With a half-mile left, Leo put my other arm around her shoulder. The last 100 yards to the door, they practically carried me. Over the years, I have leaned on Leo and John for support in many ways. Never more literally than that day. Once inside the house, they laid me down on the stainless steel table. I was pretty out of it by then. I remember hearing the words irrigate and infection. Those words were followed by someone hosing my shoulder down with magma. My entire upper body was on fire, and I was out again. I woke up feeling like I was laying in a pool of hot water, hearing voices. I tried to talk, but my mouth was full of sand. I passed out again, trying to croak out the word water. The next thing I remembered was waking up and seeing John asleep in a chair. I turned my head a little bit, enough to see that I was in the master bedroom. John's face was smashed against a book. I think that was the closest he'd ever come to reading anything. I started to roll, but pain shot down my shoulder. My arm, tied to my chest, was completely immobile. I tried looking at my shoulder, but my neck was so stiff I couldn't. My mouth was still full of sand. John, my voice was weak. Can I have some water? John woke up with a start. You gave us quite a scare, mate. I'll grab you a cup and let your mum know you're awake. He practically ran out of the room. A few minutes later, Leo, John, and Mom came walking in. Mom had a bowl of chicken broth. Leo had a big glass of water in a pitcher, and John had a grin on his face. They put the soup and water on the end table and came over to the bed. Victor, Mom said, we're going to sit you up. This is probably going to hurt. It's been 9 days since he was shot. You've mostly been unconscious for that time. Every time you were awake enough to swallow, we were pouring liquids down your throat. With no IV equipment, we were worried you'd die of dehydration. You lost a lot of blood. We'll have a talk about your reckless behavior later. For now, sit up. With that, she yanked my good arm, and Leo pushed from behind, and together they sat me upright. I winced at the excruciating pain radiating down my chest and back, but it was actually less pain than I was anticipating. My chest was bound, my shoulder wrapped with tape and gauze, and my arm taped to my chest in addition to having a makeshift sling attached. From this angle, I could see where the bullet wound was in the front, although I was happy to see there was no blood seeping through the gauze. It was going to leave a cool-looking scar. I took the proffered glass of water with my good hand and drained it. Leo refilled it and set it within reach as all three of us worked to slide me back up the bed and lean on the wall with a bunch of pillows behind me. Once I was firmly established in an upright position, I considered drinking more water. Unfortunately, more water meant I was going to eventually have to walk to the bathroom and pee. That was a daunting prospect, but I had to get up and start getting strength back. There was the matter of the kids and families at the high school. No wonder we never found any survivors. The zombies had rounded them all up. John, what's been going on around here the last 9 days while I was on vacation? 20. Fortifications. We've been working on fortifications around here. Your brother Marshall is amazing. He's built walls and sheets and lines of fire all over the property, John said. Leah learned to drive the tractor. She's a demon digging trenches. We've shored up the fences surrounding the whole of the property. Leo dug a trench and burned for about 1 kilometer from the back of the property, down to the river along the front. It's littered with big boulders. It will stop any vehicles, John continued. Marshall built a gate out of telephone poles down at the end of the driveway. I was completely impressed. The amount of work they'd done was astounding. They completed almost my entire defensive plan in 9 days without any help from me. Wow, you're all amazing. Mom, how are we on resources? Food, fuel, water, I asked. We're low on fuel. We've been conserving propane by using the grills, but we're down to about 4 days. We've used a lot of diesel the last few days. The big tank is down to 1,000 gallons. That won't last through the weekend at this rate. What day is it? I asked. It was weird to have no concept of what time or even what day it was. It's Thursday, Vic. They were building that army to come get Max, I said. They're not going to stop. Acting on a hunch, I asked. When was the last time any of you saw a zombie? We killed one last Friday, 6 days ago, said Leah. Where are they? We haven't killed everyone around here. We aren't even close to that. We've been making a huge amount of noise with the backhoe, with the tractors and chainsaws. We've had lights running all night and been grilling food outside. We've made no effort to hide our location, and yet we never see zombies. Why is that? I asked. Without waiting for a response, I continued. I believe that they're being drawn off somewhere, and that they're going to come at us in force. I think that whoever it was learned a lot about us at the gun club, and I'm worried that they won't make the same mistake twice. We need to be ready. You've all made huge progress, but we need to be able to withstand a siege. We need stores and fuel and ammunition, and we need to think about what's going to happen when a horde shows up at our door. Tukes, we're doing all we can. What else would you like us to do? Asked John. You guys have done more than I could have imagined. I think we need more living bodies, and that means more food, more fuel, more water, more guns, and more ammunition, and we need to come up with ways to kill them that don't use bullets. Leo spoke up first. I have a couple of ideas. Marshall has been building lines of fire, barricades that direct walking zombies in specific directions. What if we dug pits around the property and lined the bottoms of them with barbed pikes? Even if the dead don't die again, they'll be stuck. Then we can go around and end their reanimation with spears and burn the corpses in the pits. I like it, Leo. What do you need besides fuel to make it happen? I asked. I need someone with a chainsaw to cut down some trees out back so we can make the sticks. I've never used a chainsaw, and you're in no position to do so. That means John or Marshall. I'll be fine, but I'm not sure that I'm up for running a chainsaw. I can drive, and I can operate a tractor one-armed. I'll find some way to be useful. I'm glad it's my left arm, though. I can't shoot worth a damn with my left hand. I finished off my glass of water, and Leo refilled it on the end table. Mom handed me the bowl of chicken broth, which had cooled but was still delicious and warm. I set the spoon aside and drank the broth as quickly as I could. After about half of it, my belly was pretty full, but I kept going. I was starving, and I wasn't going to let a little something like being full get in the way of my first food in 9 days. The drawback, of course, was that I hadn't peed in days. I was low on iron, and I had very little protein in my body. As soon as I finished drinking my soup, I knew I was going to have to go. "Let me see if I can get up by myself," I said as I started to swing my legs over the edge of the bed. My feet hit the cold wooden floor. I pushed up with my good arm and realized that my back hurt like hell. With a slight grunt, I straightened up and started shuffling to the toilet. It amazed me how quickly one could become weak. My legs were noticeably thinner. When I got in the bathroom, I took a look at myself in the mirror. My chest was a mess of tape and gauze. My back looked about the same. My arm was taped to my chest and then wrapped in a sling. My belly was gone. 2 months of hard farm labor, plus trying to save food, plus 9 days without eating made for a skinny Tukes. I wasn't sure I'd been that skinny since my senior year of high school. I turned around to pee and thought, "Damn, Tukes, you'd better sit down before you fall down." I sat down on the toilet and started toying with the fabric sling. It wasn't doing anything with my arm taped like this. I pulled it off while I sat there and started to untape my arm. Every pull of tape was murder. Between the injury itself and ripping out my chest hair, I had tears in my eyes. Eventually, I had my arm free. One of the things about a broken collarbone was that they took about a month to heal. I was about a quarter of the way there. I moved my arm forward and backward, up and down. The muscles in my chest were stiff. My shoulder was stiff. I slowly stood up, straightened my shoulders, and felt my sternum crack. I held my arm against my chest and slipped the sling back over my neck. There was some pain, but overall it was much better than I'd expected. I came out of the bathroom and started looking around for a shirt. I needed to go see what the place looked like. I found my shirt and started for the stairs. Leah was in front of me in a flash. "Tukes, what do you think you're doing?" she asked, her hand on my good shoulder. "I need to go see the place. I know you don't understand, but something is coming, and it's coming now. Where's Max? I need to check on him." 21. Visitors. Downstairs in a smaller dining room, I found Max coloring in a Sesame Street coloring book. He was on the last page, having colored the entire thing. "Daddy!" he yelled as he came running across the room. "I knew you would wake up." He jumped into my arms, except I only had one arm. I caught him as best as I was able, turning my body so he launched onto my side. I held him in my good arm and kissed him on the cheek. "I love you, buddy. I missed you so much while I was asleep." "I missed you too, Daddy. But I sat with you while you slept, and I kissed you every morning and every night at bedtime. We always give kisses at bedtime." I was nearly in tears. My little boy was here. He was happy and healthy, and everything was going to be all right. He had that amazing power. All the other things he could do, that feeling was the most powerful, and it had nothing to do with his encounter at the daycare nearly 3 months ago. He gave me a kiss on the cheek and said, "Look what I made for you. You can't guess what it is." He showed me a picture that was clearly Max and me holding hands outside in a flower garden. "Is it a picture of a banana?" I asked. "No." "Is it a truck?" "No." "Is it Max and Daddy standing in the flowers?" "Yes," he said excitedly. I heard a radio chirp in the background. "Max, can you finish coloring? I'll be back in a couple of minutes." I bent down and kissed him on the cheek. "Don't worry, Daddy. Uncle Marshall is smarter than these guys," Max said plainly. Goosebumps raised on the back of my neck. I ran as best I could on my weak legs towards the living room, down the hall through the main dining room and up into the living room, where I knew I'd find my guns and the front door of the house. I grabbed my pistol, the scope .30-06 I called Sammy, and my magazine bag and stepped up to the windows. From the middle of the room, I brought the rifle up to my eye and peered through the scope. There were trucks lined up on the highway by the entrance gates, nearly half a mile away. I took off up the back steps and opened the doors on the Juliet balcony and lay down on my belly on the floor. It took me several tries to figure out how to get my left arm into position, and then several more tries to get the gun lined up. I watched through the scope as they brought some bolt cutters out of one of the trucks. I'd forgotten to grab a radio and wasn't in any shape to get up and go get one, so I just yelled, "They're cutting the chain on the gate, I need a radio!" My voice was a little louder than I intended. From right behind me, Max said, "I brought your radio and the talking necklace." "Oh, Max, thank you, buddy. You're so smart. This might get very loud, buddy. I need you to go into our room and play. Close the door and don't open it unless it's someone who lives here, okay? Can you do that?" He didn't move. "Now, Max, go now," I said firmly. His bottom lip stuck out. I'd almost never spoken sternly to him, and he walked off to our room and closed the door. I half rolled onto my good side, grabbed the radio, and slid the throat mic around my neck. I had no idea where it came from, but it was nice, especially being one-armed. I spoke into the radio. "They're cutting the chain on the gate. What's the plan?" "Vic, where are you?" my brother asked. "I'm upstairs in the library, watching out the balcony doors. Leo and John have something planned. Watch for them and move on their signal. I'm glad to hear you're up and around. Sorry I haven't been able to get up to see you since you woke up." "No problem," I said. "You got a lot done. I'm glad you're here to take care of Max. I'm sorry I got myself shot and took a 9-day vacation." "You should be. Now shut up, watch the show, and be ready to offer support. They're in position. I liberated your 50 cal, by the way. I wish you grabbed some more bullets. Next time, could you try and think that through a little better? I took the whole case." "Vic, always with the excuses," Marshall said. "Sorry, Marshall. Next time there's a zombie apocalypse, I'll call ahead and order a pallet of ammunition. Anything else you'd like me to get?" John's voice came over the radio, his Australian accent thick. "Will you shut it? Do I have to do all the work here?" I watched the trees for any sign of wind. It was dry out and warm. Bullets would fly straight and true. It was a half-mile shot, 900 yards, 32 feet of bullet drop. My scope would compensate for 20. I had to aim 12 feet above my target. Figuring the average man was just about 6 feet, I needed to aim for his head as if he was 3 times taller. I made a couple of practice sweeps, line up the head on the bottom cross in the scope, make a note of something that was at the third cross down from the top. A rock, a line, a crack in the pavement, whatever. I just aimed to put that pavement crack on the bottom lines of the scope. Inhale, 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 exhale. I was ready. Suddenly, Leo was directly in front of them on the other side of the gate. Her mic was open, and I heard her say, "Can I help you gentlemen with something?" I couldn't hear the response, but Leo blurred away behind a tree to the left. A shot rang out, and half a second later, the bolt cutters flew out of the man's hands. John was close to me, but far from them. Distance was hard to figure based on delay, but I'd guess he was somewhere around 400 yards away. And if I knew John, he was using a 9mm pistol. I returned the scope to my aim point on the guy at the gate when Leo blurred back in front of him. "I would leave now if I were you. There are at least 3 guns trained on you right now, and as you can see, we are good shots." She blurred again as the response came through her microphone. All I heard was one word. The guy at the gate yelled, "No!" I was aimed well above his head, and I saw the men start to come out of the weeds on the far side of the road first. They were in a line advancing towards our fence, 3 or 4 deep, and the line was at least 100 yards wide. When I saw them, I started my long-range shooting routine. Inhale 3 times, exhale and squeeze, lift and slide the bolt. At this distance, it was vital to remain calm and keep my heart rate under control. I squeezed the trigger, and the man at the gate went down. It was nearly a second and a half between the searing pain of the rifle stock driving into my shoulder and when the man fell, the remnants of his head showering down the road behind him. He had plenty of time to have moved, but the bullet traveled faster than the sound. He was dead before he heard the crack. The pain in my shoulder was a new twist and an added pressure on my shooting. I was slower than normal, attempting to keep my heart rate down through the pain. These were shots I wouldn't normally try, but what else could I do? Once the targets were moving, it was going to be too hard to lead them with a second and a half of flight time on the bullet. "Leo, There are at least 400 of them. We need to fall back. John, move to the porch. Leo, move to the left and take out that side. I don't want them to circle the house. Vic, nice fucking shot. Hold fire, and be ready to get to the back porch if they get around us. What do you have besides the .6? Marshall was directing the battle. I had no idea where he was, but if I was a betting man, I'd say he was on the right flank with his shotgun and something nasty up his sleeve. Marshall, copy on the hold fire. I have the rifle and my SIG. Low on ammo for both. Mom, do you have a radio? I'm going to need all the 30-06 you can carry. And do we have something semi-auto? I said quietly. The men had covered the fence and were advancing up the front yard. They were moving slowly and carefully. It would take them 3 or 4 minutes to walk the distance. It was uphill through thick grass. They'd be about out of adrenaline by the time they made it to 300 yards from the house. They'd be getting a little shaky. We were severely outnumbered, but we had very distinct, strong advantages. We were defending our home. We were the good guys. We were protecting a child, and we were dug in. They were in unfamiliar territory, trying to take ground from a determined, superhuman force. The zombies had the advantage of hiding out with humans. The smart ones looked human. They sounded human. I'd only found one way to know if they were zombies. Vic, you are in no condition to be shooting. You should be in bed. But you're not going to listen. We have a black plastic gun with a curved clip and a shotgun. Thanks, Mom. I'll take it under advisement. Can you bring me the black plastic gun? Every magazine you can find for it, and the box of 30-06 shells? Then go to Max. He's in his bedroom, hiding under the bed. I need him. I had debated this in the back of my head for months. I wanted no part in Max knowing what this was about. I didn't want him to see what was about to happen. He was too young. God, I just wanted him to have a childhood. If I could take out the zombies, I thought the humans would fold up. If I'd heard the truth at the gun club, and my memory of that interrogation was kind of fuzzy, I had to assume that the zombies had their families too. If I could convince them that we could free their families, maybe we had a chance. I just didn't see, even with Leo and John's abilities, how we could win against so many without someone getting hurt. Last time was a quarter of this number of people, and I'd ended up shot. Mom came up the stairs carrying a grocery bag full of ammunition, the .22 carbine and 4 magazines. Those mags were 30 rounds each, 150 rounds in magazines, and maybe 200 more on top of that. I just couldn't figure out how we had enough to win this. I touched the mic and spoke. Marshall, this is not a situation we're going to win. I don't want to kill all these people. Tooks, every one of us will die to protect Max. John spoke up. Vic, we're not going to die. You got shot. I understand if your nerves are raw. We can take these guys. I can't kill humans if I don't have to. I think I have an idea. We have at least 2 minutes until they're in range. Give me that time. Okay, Vic. Right out, Tooks. I trust you, Tooks, answered Leah. Mom and Max came out of Max's room. Max, I need a favor. Can you tell me with words which of the guys out there have bad bugs? I'm sorry to ask this of you, but I'm trying very hard not to hurt the people without bugs.
There are lots, Daddy. They're looking for me. Their bugs are calling for me. They're too far away right now, but they have more bugs than me.
Which ones, Max? I need to know, and I need to know right now. What color shirts are they wearing?
Red shirt in the middle. He has the most bugs. I can't squish them. But I can squish that bad guys.
As he spoke, a tall, skinny man in blue jeans, a white button-up shirt, and a black jacket fell to the ground. Max, I need you to cover your ears with your arms. This will be loud. I'll squish the red shirt guy's bugs. Max covered his ears, and I lined up for a 380-yard shot. One advantage of having lived at this house, I knew every inch of the property and could make accurate distance judgments, down to the foot, all over the property. I could almost imagine yard lines like a football field. He was far enough out for the bullet to outrun the sound. I was in cover, but I needed help. John, red shirt, middle. I need a bullet 1 foot on either side of his head the second you hear my shot. Got it, Tooks. Here goes, Max. I'm sorry. Turn around and cover, buddy. He wrapped his arms up over his head, pressing them into his ears. I squeezed the trigger. Throbbing pain shot through my whole upper body. My left arm had fallen asleep. I heard 2 shots almost simultaneously from below and left of me. 3 bullets sped towards the lead zombie, one heading for his forehead and one on each side. Whichever way he dodged, he would be hit. I worked the bolt and fired once more, this time at the leader's groin, covering myself in case he dodged straight down trying to duck the bullets. All 4 bullets flew true. Just before they struck home, the zombie turned into smoke and reappeared about 6 feet in front of his original spot. "Oh shit, upgrades," I said into the mic. "Marshall, he can teleport and he's fast. He teleported through the bullets." "Max, is there any way for me to tell which ones are bad guys?" I asked.
"You just have to look."
"They look the same to me," I said.
"Look closer, Daddy,"
Max said. I concentrated. Nothing. I focused my brain, searching for anything different. The way they moved, looked, anything. I focused on my own mind, searching for anything. I needed to be able to tell them apart. I had to. I couldn't kill all those humans. The species needed them, but more than that, I wasn't sure my conscience could handle killing that many people. That many families further torn apart, not by zombies, but by my actions. I felt a snap. A sharp pain darted through my skull and my eyes hurt. Everything was surrounded by bright colors. Max had a baby blue aura around him. My own hand was glowing blue. I looked through the scope. The humans all had colors, mostly blues. The zombies did not. Thank you, Max. I picked the first shape with no aura and squeezed. Acquire, squeeze, over and over. While I was firing, Leo closed on with the red-shirted zombie. A circle formed around them. With a mix of humans and zombies, John was out of the fight. "John, focus on the red shirt. Don't shoot Leo," I said into the mic. "Marshall, where are you?" I said. "Vic, I have the entire field trapped. They won't make it another 100 feet. If you're going to save these people, do it now." I looked at the red shirt. He was the key to this. I watched him fighting Leo. She was way too fast for him. He couldn't catch her, but every time she landed a strike, it hit only smoke. I focused on him. I focused all of my concentration on seeing him. Right as Leo landed a strike, he stretched in about 12 different directions. His shadow moved out in different directions, and one of them solidified. Right as the strike landed, he dispersed and reappeared at the end of the solidified shadow. I watched this for several strikes, all of which happened in the space of less than 2 seconds. Every time he would stretch in different directions. I realized I was looking at his decisions. When he stretched, he went to all of his possible destinations, and when he decided on one, it solidified. He reappeared above Leo, out of her line of sight. In the time she found him, he landed a blow across her cheek, cutting it pretty deeply. This had to end, but I was too far away, and there was too much bullet travel time between him and me. The Juliet balcony was about 10 feet above the porch. I considered jumping off. Immediately, my shadow stretched off the balcony, and I saw it flying on the ground with a broken leg. I changed to going off the side and hang-dropping, and it showed me a sprained ankle. Every route I tried ended with me getting hurt. Down the stairs and out the door, I ran into a zombie right as I hit the front door and got bitten. Shadows shot out of me in every direction. The best option was the window in Max's room. That path solidified for an instant, and then they all disappeared as I made my decision. I leaped off the floor, leaving the rifle, and grabbed the .22 semi-automatic. "Max, get under your bed. Stay there until I come back," I said as I opened his window. The last thing I saw was Max holding his hand up, pinky, index, and thumb extended, in the sign for "I love you." I let go of the window frame and shot the same sign to him as I fell to the porch. Just as my shadow predicted, I fell backwards and hit my funny bone on the brick porch. I ran down the front stairs and raised the rifle to my shoulder. My shadow shot forward and got bitten by a zombie from the left. I turned left, shot that zombie first, and then the one on the right. I ran for all I was worth towards Leo and the now famous red shirt. The humans had slowed down and were coming towards the house on their bellies. The zombies were still mostly advancing. "John, shoot all the standing ones. Leave red shirt to me." Finally able to enter the fight, John made up for lost time. He went down the line, only the slightest pause every 17 shots while he switched magazines. I focused on red shirt, watching him. He was predictable. If he had 2 options, he went right before left. He mostly went backwards over forwards. He was figuring out Leo's blind spots and keeping her busy. I don't think he was even trying to win. I think he had more tricks up his sleeve. I wondered what he was waiting for. He looked up, and I knew he saw me coming because he started considering options of coming towards me, but always returned to focusing on Leo. They sent him to take her out of the fight. They sent humans with the zombies to keep John from the fight. "Marshall," I called over the radio, "get ready with whatever you have. This ends now." I yelled out as loud as I ran. "Humans, 4 of us have beaten all these zombies. We will free your families. Lay down your weapons. I don't want to kill you." I watched Redshirt decide to go left and forwards, right in front of Leo. They were fighting facing right of where I was coming from. I stopped and put 3 bullets in the spot where he was going to go right as he reappeared. He reappeared right on top of 1 bullet. It exploded out of his head. The following 2 bullets impacted his head, which was decimated. Gore splattered Leo's face. I swear I saw some blood actually moving towards the cut on her face. "Mom, Leo's coming in. She's got a pretty good cut," I said into the radio. "She's going to need stitches." By the time I got to her, she had wiped her face in her shirt. Her cheek was healed. Marshall had the humans lined up along the driveway. The few that had weapons had left them on the other side of the drive. I walked up beside him. John appeared on his other side and Leo on the right. "Vic, there are 153 of them. Where are we going to put them and their families, and how are we going to get their families?" "Listen up, all of you," I shouted. "We'll get your families. We can beat them. Stay calm. Listen to Marshall. He'll get you squared away under a roof, and we'll find food." "Marshall," I said quietly, "the upstairs of the barn will hold them. We're going to need bedding, though. Watch them. None are zombies, but I'm not sure I fully trust them. I'm going to pass out." 22. Logistics. I limped upstairs, my shoulder on fire. It was amazing how much I could ignore when the adrenaline was pumping. I couldn't have held a rifle steady enough to hit anything at 10 yards. When I got to our rooms, I found Max still under his bed. He had a flashlight and some race cars under there and was playing happily. I lay down on the floor and looked under the bed. "Hi, Max," I grinned.
"Hi, Daddy."
He smiled.
"Can I come out now? It's hot under here."
"Yes, buddy. Thank you for being a good boy. Thank you for doing what I asked."
"It's okay. I put some toys and a flashlight under here yesterday so I would have something to do."
"Come on out and go downstairs and get some food. I'm going to take a nap, but first, give me a hug and a kiss." He crawled out and kissed me as he squeezed my neck.
"I love you, Daddy. You're my best daddy."
I watched him walk out of the room before I struggled to stand up. The clock on the end table said it was only 2 in the afternoon. I felt like I hadn't eaten in a month, but all I could do was lay down in bed and go to sleep. Painkillers were few and far between. We had a reasonably large supply of over-the-counter stuff, but nothing worked as well as sleep. I awoke the next day at 5:45 in the morning to the sun streaming in my window. Without thinking, I sat up in bed. My shoulder felt much better, although I was still extraordinarily stiff from the day before, and there was a huge bruise on it. Swinging my legs out of the bed, I stood up and walked downstairs to the kitchen. In the fridge, there were a couple dozen eggs. My mother was so amazing. Where did she get eggs? She seemed to have an endless pantry. As much as I wanted to eat the entire dozen, I figured I'd better eat something else. She might be saving those eggs. Plus, the only thing I'd eaten in 9 days was some broth, and I wasn't sure how my stomach would handle so much protein all at once. There was a loaf of bread, slightly moldy, on the shelf. I tore the mold off and ate 2 pieces. I was starting on the 3rd when Mom walked in, holding a plastic bag full of fresh vegetables. "Victor!" she exclaimed as she came over and gave me a hug, being cautious of my shoulder. I hugged her back. She was such an amazing woman. She'd taken all of this as it had come, had asked no questions, and had complete faith in Marshall and me. She was everywhere and helped with everything. She always had delicious food and plenty of it. I knew the stores had to be running low. "Mom, thank you. Thank you for everything. I don't know what I would have done without you," I said to her as I hugged her as tightly as I could. How are we going to feed these people, Mom? I can't turn them away. I don't think you would either. But I have no idea where we're going to find enough to go around.
I sent Marshall out with that gigantic gun you got the night you were shot. The old Myers farm has a herd of bison. He'll take one, then open up all the gates and let the rest out. Likewise, the Wades have several hundred dairy cows. We'll need to round up a dozen or so for milk and cheese and butter and let the rest go. They're not Kobe beef, but they'll still feed us. A single bison will feed us for a few days. There's not enough to keep that up forever, but unless these people all decide to stay, we only need short term. I have a 50-pound sack of grits in the basement, so tonight we'll have bison and grits. Even Marshall can hit a bison with that rifle.
Wow, Mom, you're amazing.
Vic, we have room around the property for about 350 to live under roof. Conditions will be tight, but people will have a warm, dry spot to lie down. If we're going to make a long-term go at this, we're going to need help. Marshall built a garden spot up on the hill. I planted 10 rows of potatoes, 10 rows of beets, and 2 rows of radishes and carrots. This late in the summer, root vegetables, dried grains, and hunting are going to have to carry us through this winter and spring until the early crops come in.
What do you need from me?
Down past the cat rescue, there's the old Miller place. They have a chicken coop out back with a bunch of hens and 2 roosters. I'd like to have that if they're not using it. Of course, that means we're going to need chicken feed. Bringing a dozen cows means we're going to need to stock in hay for the winter. There are round bales from last year in the back field that will be fine for cows, but some grain will keep them producing better through the winter. I need beans. Any bulk dried bean you can find is fine, and grains. Flour, rice, barley, corn, wheat. I think